Hello everyone, this is Olasheni Fadekwe. I'm presenting a technology intensive lesson plan on visual displays. To begin with, I'm going to ask the student a question. Why do we have to organize raw data? And I'm going to wait for a while to get responses from the student. I will be using one stone to kill several birds. I'm going to use one data set to illustrate and demonstrate several visual displays. The data we'll be working with is called frog length. The data show the length from top to tail in millimeters of a large group of frogs. Though I wrote this lesson plan with Minitab in mind, unfortunately there was no Minitab installed in the Macintosh OS. So I have to make do with StatCrunch. StatCrunch is a statistical software on my StatLab online homework, so all students can access it. So we're going to use StatCrunch to do some visual displays. So how do we display data? So we're working with continuous data. The frog length is a continuous data. So we're going to look at 4 visual displays. We're going to look at tables, dot plot, stem and leaf plot, and histogram. So we're going to begin with tables. Tables is a very nice way of organizing data. Raw data doesn't make sense to us until we organize them in form of a table. Then we can see some patterns. And when we draw charts, we could get more information from the data. So we're going to begin with looking at tables. So how do we construct tables from StatCrunch? So since our students have access to StatCrunch, so they're going to log on to mystatlab.com and highlight Stat 22 for 2012. And click StatCrunch. So go to StatCrunch website. Go to my data. So the data file is frog length, and this file has been sent to all the students. So we're going to work with frog length data. So let's click that and see what shows up. There we go. The data is in column 1 of StatCrunch worksheet, or spreadsheet if you like. So we're going to start with tables. We want to construct a table for the frog length. So how do we construct a table, or how do we draw a table for a data? Remember, this data is a continuous data. So to construct table, go to Start, select Tables, and select Frequency, and double-click Length, and click Calculate. So that gives us a table. This is a very nice looking table, and it presents the data better than what we have in a column. So, but as we can see, this table is kind of long, and we could group this data into class intervals and get a better table. But what we're going to do now, we're going to draw a dot plot for the same data, that is the frog length. So let's close this and draw a dot plot for frog length. To draw a dot plot, go to Graphics and go to dot plot. Double click Length and click Create Graph. This gives us the dot plot. As the student can see the dot plot, I'm going to ask them to what do they prefer? Do they prefer the table or the dot plot? So, but as we can see, the dot plot is more revealing than the table. We could see the spread of the data, the frog length. We could see how spread this is. And this is definitely better than the table. But we could represent the same data with stem and leaf plot. Let's see stem and leaf plot. To draw a stem and leaf plot, again we go to graphics and select stem and leaf, double click length, and click create graph. So this gives us the stem and leaf right away. And this is the stem and leaf produced by StartCrunch. And obviously there's no key for this stem and leaf. So I'm going to ask the student what is missing, which information is missing on this stem and leaf. I'm going to wait for them to supply the answer. So the beauty of stem and leaf is we can find the median of frog length by looking at the stem and leaf plot, because the stem and leaf plot is an ordered stem and leaf plot. So for example, this means 53 millimeters, this means 62 millimeters, and this means 65 millimeters, 68 millimeters, 68 millimeters, and 69 millimeters. So we could reproduce the data from this stem and leaf plot. So now, how do we draw histogram? So let's close this. To draw histogram, we go to graphics and we click histogram. We double click this and we click next. The reason we click next here is because we need to supply some options before we draw the histogram. Start beans at. Here we need to know the minimum. We need to know the minimum frog length. And how do we get that? So let's cancel this. To get the minimum frog length, let's go to start and get summary statistics for columns. So this gives us the summary statistics for frog length. This is the minimum here. So the minimum is 53. So we can close this and go back to graphics, histogram, click length, click next. So now here this is type. We could choose frequency, relative frequency, or density. But let's go with frequency. So options, start beans at, the smallest is 53. Plug in 53. Then this is a bin width. This is the class width, also called the bin width. So let's use 5, the class width. We'll click next. Click option. So we don't need this, we can cancel this. Next again. So we could put some labels. X label, frog length. The Y axis is frequency. And the title is frog length histogram. And click next, so we can click create graph. So this is the histogram, and we could see that the histogram is nice looking, and the student could be asked a lot of questions from this histogram. So this is how to use visual displays to organize data. So what I've done, the goal of the lesson is to walk the student through how to construct visual displays. Visual displays like tables, like dot plot, stem and leaf plot, and a histogram, and to discuss on when to use each of them, because you cannot just use any of the visual display for anything. So histogram is particularly useful for a very large data set. So we're going to discuss all that in the class. So the student will have a lot of questions to answer as the lesson progresses, and we will discuss other stuff. Thank you.